Love you.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Brad and Mira For the Culture. I'm Brad Listi, and I'm here with my friend and co-host, Mira Gonzalez, who is making her triumphant return after a couple of weeks off.
That's right. I'm back. I'm back, bitches. I lived.
So you've been going through rough stuff. Like we have to acknowledge the fact that you lost your grandma. This is supposed to be a light show, but I don't know what to say.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean, what I can say is that my grandma was very successful, very funny. I'll just take this moment to talk about all my grandma's achievements. She made the costumes for the movie Carrie with the famous pig blood scene. She was nominated for an Academy Award for the costumes for Tron. She did the costumes for Phantom of the Paradise. She did the costumes for Airplane. She did the costumes for Casper. She did the costumes for the Flintstones. She did the costumes for RoboCop. So she's got a really long, storied career. I'm beginning my campaign to get her in the in memoriam in the Oscars, and I will protest outside the Oscars with a one-woman sign if I have to.
Wait. How does that work? Are you really campaigning? Do you have to lobby?
Yeah. So the way it works basically is that my grandma is a member of the Costume Designers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild, because that's just when you get a certain amount of hours, that's what happens. And so basically the Costume Designers Guild that represents her, the local, I can't remember the number, they submit her to their Oscars representative, their SAG, Academy representative or whatever. And literally the way that it works is that hopefully not a lot of costume designers have died this year, because it's they need to have a certain number of directors, publicists, costume designers. And so if say 50 costume designers died this year, then my grandma would have to be in the list of top 5 or whatever to get in the in memoriam, which is insane. But not a lot have died this year that I've seen, so fingers crossed. Yeah,
the in memoriam segment of the Oscars is interesting to me, because it's you spend your whole life working, you achieve celebrity if you're an actor or director or whatever, and you have this big high profile life and career, and then it all just comes down to a couple of seconds where you're on the screen and everybody just goes woo!
Right, exactly. I mean, David Lynch got 2 seconds. He got as much as Shrek's publicist in the Oscars. I'll never forget. It's fucking insane. I mean, my grandma was one of the funniest, of many really good things about her. She was very funny about her history as working in Hollywood. And so one of our final conversations was I was driving her to the Costume Designers Guild to record what's called a legacy video, which is at the end of the life of somebody who was a member of the guild, they'll record a video with them where they interview them about their history, basically. And so on the way to the Costume Designers Guild, it happened to just be me and my grandma in the car, and my mom wasn't there. So I decided it was time to ask her questions that my mom would be embarrassed by. So I said to her, "Who is the most attractive famous man you have ever worked with?" Okay, without missing a beat. She didn't even think about it. In 2 seconds, she goes, "Peter Fonda. And he had the biggest penis I've ever seen." And I said, wow, of all the famous men, because, famous men are kind of exhibitionists. They'll not wear underwear when they're being, costumed. So she's seen a lot of penises. And I go, wow, so it's the biggest famous penis you've ever seen? And she goes, no. It's the biggest penis I have ever seen, period.
Jesus Christ. So wait. And famous guys, this? You've gotten on the record reporting that famous guys will just be totally nude while they're getting fitted?
1,000%, yes. My grandma says, so many of them, most of them, will show up to costume fittings where you have to strip down, because you can't get somebody's measurements, with their shirt on, for example. That's not going to work. But you can wear underwear, that's expected, is you wear a bra and underwear. And all the women do. The men almost 100% of the time show up without underwear, but not Jeff Bridges and not Tom Hanks.
They wear underwear.
But my grandma was so used to it, because my mom was like, well, why were you going to ask her about Peter Fonda's dick? Because I was going to ask, of course, before my grandma said it without me asking. And I was like, Mommy, because she told us a million times they're all exhibitionists. She's seen a million penises.
Jesus Christ, the confidence.
The confidence, and just exhibitionist. I mean, she also told a story about how when she did the costumes for Tron, at the time, it was really hard to find adult man-sized leotard, which is what they all had to wear. Like, it was just really not an easy thing to find. And so she had to get them from a Russian ballet studio. And when she did, she didn't realize that male ballet dancers wear something I believe called a dance belt, which sort of covers up underneath leotard. So she got these leotards, hand silk screen them in this really meticulous way so that the lights would, because it was the 80s, they like didn't have really like the special effects we have now. So it had to be like the lights would basically bounce off of the outfits in a certain way. So when they wore the leotards and the cameras were on and the lights were on, it was perfect. Then the lights came down and they were just nude. Everybody just fully see-through leotards. Everybody just dick hanging out at the craft services, like fully naked. And then she had to like send her costumer in an emergency to go get like 50 robes for everybody because it was like, you can't have Jeff Bridges hanging dong at craft services.
Or you could.
You did for a minute until they got the robes.
What is the size of Jeff Bridges' penis?
I really should have asked her. That's a great question. And it's too late to ask her, which is a shame. But I will be asking anybody who I know who's worked with them just to try to get an answer, because I am curious.
I mean, I would no sooner show up nude to a costume fitting. I cannot imagine like having that sort of temperament or that sort of penis, to be honest. Like, just to be like, yeah.
They didn't all have big penises. My grandma said it's not like they all just had such impressive penises to show off. They just are exhibitionists. They just like want you to see their dong in general.
Good Lord.
Yeah. As one last thing I will say that does not have to do with her Hollywood career, I think the actual, like it wasn't the last thing she said, but the last like fully coherent conversation I had with her was when we were driving her to the hospital. She was kind of she had cancer, but there was like, she was having like an emergency level of pain. It's dark and I won't go into it, but we were driving her to the hospital and like this woman is probably in more pain than she's ever been in her entire life. And we're quiet in the car for a minute and she goes, "I don't want my ashes in the ocean." And we're like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because the ocean is scary and there are sharks." And I said, "Okay, so not in the ocean." And then another minute passed and I said, "Well, where do you want your ashes to go?" And there's the story that she would tell about her good friend who had a close relative who died. And they had the urn on the mantle. And then the urn accidentally gets knocked over. All the ashes go everywhere. The glass goes everywhere. And so they had a dustbuster vacuum. They vacuumed it up. And then they took the dustbuster and they put it on the mantle. And that was her urn from then on. Just the ashes in the dustbuster. And so when we asked my grandma, "Okay, you don't want your ashes in the ocean. Where do you want them?" She pauses for a second and then very, quietly, she's in pain. She goes, "The dustbuster." And she never gave us another request. We have no idea where to put her ashes. We just know that she said the dustbuster.
Well, get the dustbuster out.
I think we have to buy a dustbuster from the, early 90s or whenever that was and put her in the dustbuster because that's what she wanted.
Yeah, I think in my will, like we had to write a will because we have kids. And I was just like, I just sprinkle me somewhere pretty. That's it. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I truly don't care. Like I throw my ashes in the trash for all I care, honestly. Like I'm dead, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't have any.
I think that's how my grandma felt, which is maybe why she said the dustbuster.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, whatever. Just return me somehow to the earth, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. Put me under a tree. I don't care. Put me in the dustbuster.
So I'm curious, and I think a lot of our listeners are curious to know, like, how like you're a very heavy cannabis user. And I'm just wondering, like, were you super high throughout all of this?
I think it's really a sign that it was the most traumatic experience of my life that I like wasn't even that high. Like I was like waiting until like I like would forget all day long to get high. I'd be like, this is a fucked up situation. I don't know. I didn't even take Xanax, like nothing. Like I was just like, I just raw dogged it. And then like at night, I'd raw dog it all day long. And then like at night, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, weed." And I would like take an edible and I'd be like, "Oh, thank God. Like that's nice." But I probably consume like less weed than I normally do, which is like, again, a very bad sign.
I was just going to say, this is what it takes for Mira to not consume like Herculean amounts of weed.
It's literally taking care of a dead grandma for a week.
Good God.
Quasi-dead grandma.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm also like happy for you that you had a great grandma because not everybody does. And you got to know her, which not everybody does.
It's true. We were very, very close for my whole life. She was like I mean, my brother and I keep saying it. She was a perfect grandma. She really was. She never did anything wrong. Spoiled us rotten.
That's all you can ask.
Yeah, truly. And like that, and like just having a cool grandma who like has a million cool stories is also fun. I mean, she fucked Jim Morrison. They dated for a while. That's fucking cool. Yeah. Like, she's got a million of those.
She saw Peter Fonda's penis.
Yeah, largest penis she's ever seen.
I wonder how big it like actually was, because I've never heard. Usually, this stuff gets around. I've never heard any Peter Fonda penis stories.
I've never heard any Peter Fonda penis stories either. Like normally, it's like, you know, Willem Dafoe. Like, you know, they have like a big dick. But like, what I will say is that like my grandma had a storied slut era, so she's seen some penises in her life. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it as a compliment, if anything. So if she's saying it's the biggest penis she's ever seen, period, it was big.
And like Peter Fonda's dead, so
right. So we can never know.
We'll never know. But it's just like, imagine like being somebody and like you die, and then like years later, there are people on some fucking podcast just like talking about how big your dick was. How
you were just hanging dong so much that like one of the last conversations is my grandma needing to convey Peter Fonda has the biggest dick I've ever seen, period.
Were those her last words? No.
Not her last words, like, but like one of the last like fully coherent conversations that I had with her was that. Like when she was like fully 100% there mentally and like was fully herself. It was like maybe in the last like 3 conversations I had with her.
her dying breath. She was just like, Peter. Peter's penis.
Peter's penis. It was so big. And then she dies.
Oh my God. Well, a salute to Rosanna. Right?
Yeah. Salute to Rosanna Norton. You can Google her and you can see all the different obituaries.
She's gotten a good send off. She's gotten like Daily Variety. Did you do that or did that just happen?
I have been, and it's so strange. I guess I just kind of forgot that she actually is a little bit famous, but like I've literally been getting calls from like press. Like it was like the day after she died, I was like in mourning and all fucked up, and I was getting calls from Variety and from the Hollywood Reporter and from like, because we just given everybody my phone number instead of my mom's because it's easier, basically. And like I've got a little bit of experience with, I don't know, publications or whatever. But yeah, I've just been getting calls nonstop from different journalists being like, sorry about your grandma, but can you tell us all these different details about her life? And like, what, blah, blah, blah.
How high were you, Mira, at her bedside?
Can you give us a number of THC milligrams? Do you have like just a ballpark? I also have been letting everybody know in these things about what I just found out, which is that my great-grandmother, who was a poet, Anne Stanford, was also a founding member of my least favorite event, AWP, the Annual Writers Conference.
No way.
Yeah. She was among the first 5 founding members.
Good God, Mira, you have a lineage.
I've got a lineage, man. I've got a lineage. That's not even to mention on my grandpa's side with the IRA terrorist and whatnot. I mean, I got a uniquely crazy family.
Yeah. Well, blessings upon your family. And that's a nice moment to segue into our first big story of the week. And we have to talk about the new Pope. I mean,
yes.
The Pope happened. And I think we have to issue a correction.
Mm-hmm. Actually, yes. I specifically have to issue a correction, which one of our listeners, who I'm so sorry I forgot their name because they sent this like 2 weeks ago or whenever we last podcasted, but I got a correction from one of our lovely listeners. I said that the black smoke that comes out of the cardinal place, whatever, was to say that the new Pope was elected, but actually white smoke is what says that the new Pope was elected. So I had it backwards.
I knew it. I was like, there's no way they put black smoke out to signal like a
and I had just watched Conclave, and I just like, I think I was just so high when I was watching it that like I just got the two mixed up, because it does make way more sense that it would be white smoke signaling that the Pope was elected.
Mira was so high, she lost track of like the difference between black and white.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just went like colorblind, but like ultra colorblind, where even black and white, I couldn't tell the difference.
I watched Conclave.
What'd you think?
I thought it was very campy. Like it was even as campier than I was expecting or something. I don't know. But like
it's really campy.
And I loved the location shooting. I'm assuming they were they in the Vatican, or was it somewhere in Rome or something? I don't know. But
they built a lot of those sets, actually. Like, so a lot of it was in Rome, like some of the like hallway scenes and stuff like that. But like the conclave that they were like inside of when they were voting was a set, if you can believe it.
And I thought that the acting was really good. I feel like I have a couple of thoughts. Like, first of all, Ralph Fiennes is great in anything.
Incredible.
And I do, as a rule of this show, have to mention. I might have talked about him before. I feel like I've said this before on some episode of some show. I can't even remember. But I sat next to Ralph Fiennes at a restaurant once.
Oh, that he is so attractive. Oh my God. He is just the most handsome. I just, like, my mom and I watched Conclave when we were taking care of my grandma. We just, like, got in bed and watched Conclave together because she hadn't seen it. And I was like, hell yeah, let's watch it again. And we were just like, God, Ralph Fiennes, he is so handsome. He is so good looking.
There's an elegance to him and like a vulnerability. My wife thinks he's attractive, and like she even confessed to me that she like found him attractive in Schindler's List, which made her like feel all conflicted.
He's murdering children, and she's just like, oh, heartthrob.
He's like sniping babies from his like the porch of his little hut or whatever. And
I mean, you know what? But it's like, when somebody is as good looking as him, it's kind of hard to not admit it, even when he's in a bad role. I mean, Edward Norton, a young Edward Norton, he was in American History X playing a whole Nazi who was doing horrible shit. Really good looking, really attractive. I was watching that whole movie and I was like, it is really bad that I'm attracted to Edward Norton in this role.
He's like a full like white supremacist.
Oh man, my favorite part of Conclave was, and I mean, maybe the campiest part of Conclave was when, and I won't spoil anything, but there's a part where Ralph Fiennes just pulled a Mean Girls, like when in Mean Girls, when they like Xerox the burn book, and then she like just throws it out in the hallway and everybody gets to see all the terrible things that they've written about each other in the burn book. Ralph Fiennes literally did that. He like got a piece of paper that said something specific and bad about like two of the cardinals, printed it out, and handed it out to everyone, and then just kind of stood there sassy, like, that's right. Like, I gave all the gossip. And then Isabella Rossellini just walking in and being like, this gossip is true, and then like flipping her skirt and leaving the room. I was like, yes.
I'll say this. I have my issues with the Catholic Church, but I am a huge fan of the way that they pick their popes. That was fun. It's fun. People got into it. It's fun for, even if you're not a Catholic, it's fun. It's fun.
It's stylish. It like involves like drama. It's like the Real Housewives of the Vatican, but you don't get to see it, kind of like, they're just queening out in there. You know, they're queening out hard.
All right. So here's another thing is that like, I think that like the crowd scenes out in St. Peter's Square, like that part of it was fun. Like the vamping on like cable news as this decision was coming down was pretty funny to watch. Like, we're waiting for the smoke, and all that kind of stuff. But there was also, I want to say Harry Styles was like in the crowd.
Yeah, he was spotted in the crowd. Like, what the fuck are you doing there, Harry Styles?
But then again, like, this is a question. It feels like in this age, like it's a smart move to be like a celebrity, and like when a pope dies, like immediately fly to Rome and just be like out there somewhere, like doing like selfie videos.
I guess it's a smart move. I mean, it's a smart move if you like are like, if you're like a TikTok influencer and you want followers, like it's a very smart move. But for Harry Styles, it almost feels like sometimes people get so famous that they just start doing side quests, like Lana Del Rey becoming like like working at Waffle House for a day for some reason. Like, just like, I'm just rich and famous and I'm just going to do weird little side quests. Like Harry was just like, you know what? I'm going to go see the new Pope. Why not? Like, I'm rich. I got a plane. I can do weird shit. Let's go. And like, I respect that.
Just to like witness history or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I don't think Harry Styles is actually religious in any capacity. Like, I think he just wanted to see what it was like. Which I get it. I want to see what it's like.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah, it's
like,
very strange.
People get so excited. And it's essentially what? It's not a democratic process
not among normal people. I guess among the cardinals it is.
Yeah, but it's like essentially like and it's totally male. Like it's not like no women get to vote. It's just a bunch of elite Catholic dudes who hide inside of the Sistine Chapel. Where do they do this? In the Sistine Chapel or in the Vatican somewhere?
Is it the Sistine Chapel? Is that what the paintings on the ceiling were?
Maybe. I don't know. It's somewhere.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, somewhere near there. And they near there. They go in there and it's like under lock and key.
Yeah, and they wear their matching outfits and they stay in the house. Like, I mean, it's like Big Brother for the popes, but no cameras. Like, they have to stay in the house. They don't get to know what's going on outside of the Vatican. Like, they just have to stay there until they vote for the right one.
And they can, like, I guess it can, I mean, they have so much real estate. They can accommodate all these people. There's rooms for everybody, and they all sleep there, and they can't leave.
It's like a little hotel for all of the cardinals. I mean, you saw like the beginning of the movie Conclave, where it's like the cardinals are all flying in. How many cardinals are there? All of the nuns are having to like make arrangements for each cardinal. They're having to make seats for each cardinal. They're having to do the bedding for each of the room for the cardinals. Like, it's like there's like a special area that has like rooms for all the cardinals to sleep in and they just have to stay there until the conclave is over. It could take 2 years and they'd have to stay there.
That's so fucked up. Like, these nuns are just like basically like the kitchen.
Oh yeah, that's like, it exactly. Which is why the scene where Isabella Rossellini just walks into the conclave and she's like, "It's all true," and then leaves. Like, she's like, "I know we're supposed to be quiet, but God gave us ears and a mouth, and so I'm telling you it's true. Goodbye." Like, it's just so incredible and so unrealistic and just amazing.
And I feel like Stanley Tucci, he plays like a bitchy guy better than just about anybody.
Oh my God, no one plays a gay better than Stanley Tucci. It's great. He's like such a queen. I don't know how he's straight.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's straight, but he plays like, I feel like he plays queens great.
He plays them like better than some gay men. He's the queeniest of all straight male queens. I don't know how he does it. I literally don't think that like anybody could have played that Devil Wears Prada role better than Stanley Tucci, not even a gay man.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got a good thing going. But do you see that Italy show that he did where he just travels Italy and just eats Italian food?
Amazing. I could just watch him eat Italian food and talk like forever. I want to like Martha Stewart Stanley Tucci show. Like,
yeah, and he speaks fluent Italian, and and the thing too is like he's eating all this Italian food. The guy's thin as a rail and very stylish.
Yeah, you can tell that he like keeps it tight. He's like got like a tailor that he's got a really good relationship with. Like, he's like got menswear down. I mean, he's so stylish that it's crazy that he's not gay. That's like why he can play a gay man so well, is because like he's one of the rare straight men who are stylish and know how to queen out. And that's like just the most you could hope for from a straight man, basically.
So he was well cast. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Like Isabella Rossellini, Ray Fiennes, John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. He was, I thought, very well cast. He is very good at playing like a kind of sketchy, hasn't he played like a pedophile in a show before, like, or a movie, like really, really well?
I don't know, but he was.
No, that was Stanley Tucci who played a pedophile really well.
In addition to being able to queen out, he's also so convincing as a child molester.
Terrifying pedophile.
There's nobody in Hollywood who plays a child molester with more depth and nuance than Stanley Tucci.
And a pedophile and a gay man. He's just typecast, either gay or pedophile. That's it.
Yeah, when he molested that Italian boy in Tuscany while he was eating pasta, it was just so.
That's the surprise finale of the Italy show. Stanley Tucci is that he reveals that he has a close relationship with the Catholic Church and has been molesting his whole life.
Searching for Italy. I think it's called Searching for Italy.
Searching for Italy is so funny. You're not searching for Italy. You're in Italy, bro. You're not searching for anything.
Yeah, I think you found it. I think we can end.
I think you're good. You found it. You can end it at episode 1.
So I feel like the takeaway from the Pope, like this conclave, I think the big takeaway is that I feel like we should make more like major human decisions in this manner.
Yes.
Where there's like smoke and you get like a colored smoke that kind of lets you know the verdict. And
everyone has to wear outfits. I think everyone should have to wear like really fancy matching outfits. Like all of the red cloaks that all the cardinals wore, like just adds an element of like official stylishness that like I think the US Congress should have to do. I think they should have to wear uniforms.
Yeah. And I just like that there was a big crowd and then it's all being piped to like social media in real time.
Yes.
I feel like that's a dramatic and satisfying way to like receive like verdicts and decisions.
And like, I also like that they're like sequestered like a jury. Like it's like they don't get to know what's going on outside the conclave. They all have to literally sleep there and stay there until they pick somebody. It's like Big Brother. It really is. And I think there should be cameras allowed. Frankly, I think that they should be sequestered, not be allowed to see what's going on outside, but we should all be able to watch them.
Like maybe like, and that would be I think the deal would be like, we don't want like the proceedings to be public as they're happening because that could sully the purity of the vote or something. But like, I feel like as Catholics and as just as human beings, we do deserve to know the machinations of like what's going on in that room behind the curtain.
I think we should be able to see every single detail, because I think that if the cardinals can't see what the reaction is from people, then they still won't be sullied. They'll still like be making the decision just within themselves without any outside influence. I think we should just be all able to see. It should be like put on a big screen, like outside the Vatican, so all of the people sitting there can watch the proceedings.
I mean, or just like made into like a Netflix documentary. It would be
like real time. Like Big Brother is real time, where like they're in the house and it's being broadcast and they don't know what the audience reactions are. Like that seems fucking fun.
I feel like it would be like a boon for Catholicism.
Right? I feel like they could make a ton of money off of it. They could become much more popular. Like, because, like, let's be real, it's just institutionalized pedophilia. They need some good PR. Like, right now you hear Catholic Church and pedophile. That was immediately what comes to mind. They gotta fix that.
Well, I mean, that was like my joke. It's like the world is so starved for like forceful, eloquent moral leadership that they're willing to turn to an institution that is like rampant with systemic pedophilia in an effort to find it. Like that's what we're up to.
It's just systemized pedophilia. And they're like, well, but he believes in God and like he isn't going out there and saying that like Mexicans are dirty. So like, I guess, he thinks poor people should be able to like, literally just live great. Like that's how low our standards have gotten.
Yeah. Like the world is like in such a bad place. And it's like, I think like, this Pope Leo seems like a nice guy, and it feels like he is definitely someone that Francis would have been happy with as a successor.
Because Francis had like his whole thing was like the poor. He focused on the poor and the impoverished, and like that was like his main belief. I think there's like a word for whatever it is, but it was like I think a really good way, a disposition for the Pope to have. It was like people who are in war-torn countries, people who are just homeless on the street, people who are impoverished. Like that's who he focused on. And this Pope, in his first speech to everybody, said that he was calling for a ceasefire in Gaza and for all the children in Gaza to stop being tormented. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's the best I can hope for from a Pope, and I'm on his side. That said, American Pope, kind of boring, right?
I mean, I feel like there's like a lack, like there's something kind of stylish and fun about a Pope who's like got some South American or like European.
Yeah, Americans suck. I feel like Americans shouldn't even be allowed to be Pope. Like what? Like, oh, the Pope is from Chicago? What? Like, who cares? Is the Pope like a fan of whatever? What's the Chicago? Is the Bears?
The Whites. Well, the Bears are the football team.
He could be like, duh, Bears. Like, that's the Pope we have. You have a duh, Bears Pope. Like, does he have a fucking Chicago accent too? Like, Jesus Christ.
He kind of does. And his brothers definitely do. But I will say that Pope Leo lived as a missionary in South America for like 30 years. I think that's why...
That makes it a little better.
Yeah, that's why I think he got to know Francis before Francis was ever Pope. I think they knew each other down there.
Oh, like in Peru or wherever.
But I'm dying to know how this happened, because I never even heard this guy's name.
Right.
And
he didn't seem like he was even in the running.
Right. How did it happen? We deserve to know this. It
happened like Conclave, and without letting the ending of Conclave go, it was like, this person, that person, this person. In the end, they voted for this guy, and you're like, whoa, okay. I did like that guy. What didn't even seem like he was in the running. Like, did something like that happen in the Conclave? Like, because I was like actively following who the possibilities were, and I really thought it was going to be the Filipino Pope. Everyone did.
Well, it was him, or it was Patrolin, the guy who was like Secretary of State for the Vatican, who was like a diplomat and like a kind of like Francis's assistant or whatever. But
he was like the Ray Fiennes.
Kind of, yeah, exactly, something like that. But
he was like the manager,
and like had like I thought like, oh, he's a diplomat, so he's like good at like kind of currying favor with people and not ruffling feathers, and that would be like a good quality to have if you want to like survive a conclave and become Pope. But we'll never know. I don't think we'll ever know what actually happened behind the scenes, and that's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Like, why won't they tell us?
I mean, my feeling is people make fun of the Kardashians and like, Real Housewives or whatever, because they are kind of trashy. But my feeling is anybody who is in that wealth strata, who is above a certain level of wealth, should be forced to do a show like that, where they do not get final edit. Like, we should be able to have like a reality show in the conclave where like fucking Andy Cohen gets final edit on the conclave. And like, that's what we get to see. And like, nobody in the conclave gets to say, or like, you know, we deserve to see like that in the Senate, in any closed Senate hearings, or in like, I mean, just anything that involves rich people making choices for us, we deserve to have a reality show about.
Yeah. And I like it'll never happen, but it would be, I really do think it would make the church's popularity skyrocket.
I think so too. And I think it would also make the cardinals like force them to act right.
I mean, yeah, it would be beyond fascinating. So anyway, I'm pulling for him. Like, I hope he does a good job. I hope he has like real fortitude and courage and just like speaks out and advocates without like fear or equivocation. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just
totally.
We need that guy badly. We need somebody.
And especially if you're going to be an American pope, like, you prove that you're good enough to be that, because like you already are like down a peg from just being from Chicago. So like, prove that you're worthy of the position.
Well, and I think like there was a quote that I read and I forget who it was. It was some like papal observer or scholar or something, but basically it was a quote from the past, you know, years ago. And it was essentially like, there's not going to be an American pope unless and until the American political system is in bad decline.
Yep.
Because at the time, you know, it was like the American empire was still rolling and it was like
in charge of everything.
Yeah, we're not going to give you
that help.
Yeah, you're not going to get the church too. But now that America is like in the toilet with Trump, it's like, you know, let's have an American pope. And I think that was probably part of the calculation.
I think definitely. Yeah, I think part of it, a huge part of it probably was just like, okay, we need better relations with America. America is morally corrupt and fucked. And like, we keep saying like Gaza, for example, I think was a huge thing for Pope Francis. And this guy is clearly a descendant of Pope Francis, is you know, groomed by Pope Francis. And like, let's
not use the word groomed when we talk about priests, Mira.
Well, you know, he might have been groomed by Pope Francis. That is, you know, that is certainly possible. But I mean, I think that I think him being American was a huge deciding factor, just because they have such bad shit going on in America, such bad communication with America. Like, they needed somebody who was going to be representation.
What's so funny to me is like all these like right wingers in America who are very like loudly Christian, you know, like they're very like, I'm Christian, I'm Catholic. And then it's like, oh, here's Pope Francis. Like, we take care of the poor and make sure that immigrants like have a roof over their head and some food. And it's like
disgusting. And it's like, if you're Catholic, like, you don't have a choice but to listen to the Pope. That motherfucker is giving you messages from God. Nobody can give you messages from God like that Pope. He is hearing from God like nobody else, and you're saying no? What, like, you're not a Catholic. Like, period. If you don't believe what the Pope is saying, you're just not a Catholic.
Like, forget the Pope. Like, what about Jesus? Like,
Jesus is telling it to the Pope, and the Pope's telling it to you. So it's like, you don't believe Jesus? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's exactly right.
They don't believe Jesus. That's right. I mean, which like we could have told from the very beginning, because Jesus was hanging out with prostitutes and the poor and was like, you know, caring about like, I mean, Jesus was Palestinian. So we know for sure that it's not about Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, you know, the artifice of it all is just like exposed like so quickly.
The aesthetics of the Catholic Church, beautiful, flawless. It's like makes it almost hard for me to like be, and I am against the Catholic Church's institutionalized pedophilia, but like every different kind of Catholicism has its own amazing aesthetic. Like, you have like Roman Catholicism, like the Vatican, gorgeous, beautiful. Like we said, the outfits, amazing. The whole fucking structure, beautiful, amazing. Then you have Mexican Catholicism, also amazing. I mean, incredible. They have skulls everywhere. They are wearing like all of these fucking marigolds. They like are fucking having like the Virgin de Guadalupe, like fucking big shrines to her that are like, I mean, it's incredible. They've got great aesthetics. They do. Can't help it.
Great art. Yeah. Great art. Great real estate.
Great art. Mm-hmm. Great art. Great real estate. That's exactly right. Great fashion.
I mean,
you know, it's unfortunate.
Well, I guess I hope that Pope Leo does a good job and, you know, does the work that he's supposed to do, or at least like helps to serve as some kind of counterweight to like all of the insanity.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I really do. Like that is what we need, especially considering how many Trump supporters are like Catholic, evangelical, like born again maniacs. Like, that's the Pope saying that he's wrong. So maybe some people will start to change their minds. Maybe not, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a better story to segue to after talking about the Holy Father than to talk about Diddy's trial for.
Yeah, this is our light pop culture podcast where we begin with Mira's grandma died in a very traumatic fashion. The Catholic Church has institutionalized pedophilia. And now let's discuss a rape trial.
Is it rape and like sex trafficking?
It's
and,
everything above. Rape, sex trafficking, pedophilia, like just all in Epstein style, every single bad thing that you can possibly imagine is this trial.
Yeah, it's just like a vortex of darkness.
It's
the least funny story in all of popular culture, and we are here to cover it.
And it's, again, not very funny, but it's also the kind of thing where it's like, if you have a pop culture podcast, it would be really insane to ignore this because it is the biggest story that is happening right now, basically. So the Diddy trial, let's go part by part, I guess. So at the trial, people arrived to the trial, and the people who came to support Diddy were the mother of 2 of his children and his children. And the mother of Diddy's kids showed up with a walker. Now, she's not that fucking old. What is with the walkers?
I feel like this happens like at every celebrity trial. Someone's got a walker.
Someone's got a walker every single time. They're like, oh, I'm old and I have a walker. Like, motherfucker, like, you're a fucking sex trafficker or a supporter of a sex trafficker. Why are we going to be like, oh, well, actually, she has a walker, so I'm feeling bad for her?
Well, didn't Harvey Weinstein show up with a walker at his... Yeah, I mean, this is like, to me, it's like, oh, so you're guilty.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, oh, you're trying to make yourself look feeble and old and innocent. You're clearly fucking guilty. Yeah. And like this lady, I'm sure, just talked to a fucking publicist and was like, oh, if you look vaguely disabled, people will not hate you for supporting like one of the biggest rapists in the music industry. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just such a stupid idea. At least put her in a wheelchair. I'm sorry. Like, a walker is not even that bad. Like, put her in a wheelchair if you really want people to feel bad for her.
And I want to say I read that Diddy has gray hair now. Does he have gray hair?
God.
I didn't see, but I think
that just means that he was dyeing his hair all this time and then he couldn't dye it in prison. I mean, like, it's not like you're going to sprout gray hair that fast. He's not Leland Palmer.
Well, but you can. I mean, trauma can gray your hair. Like, if it happened to my grandmother when my dad...
Did you go fully gray in a month?
Kind of, yeah. Like, her hair just like went white because her daughter died. It was bad.
Wow, literally just like Twin Peaks. His daughter died and his hair went white overnight.
I mean, I think that's actually, there's documented cases of it. I think it can be a response to trauma, but like Diddy is also in his 50s.
I hope it's a trauma response, but I feel like probably he was just dyeing his hair this whole time and then couldn't dye it anymore.
Well, no question. He's in his 50s. Yeah. His hair is definitely not fully, unless he's a very rare
of course, in his
case.
50s. That's crazy. Like, nobody in their 50s has no gray hair. He was for sure dyeing it. He had to be.
And he was holding a Bible, of course. And
right, that's the other thing guilty people do. They're like, now I'm sick, and I'm disabled, and I'm religious.
That's right. That's the trifecta.
Yeah, my body's falling apart, and I found Jesus. Please find me innocent. What the fuck?
And yet, like, you know, like a year ago, he was like throwing like crazy parties and like
freak-offs. You know, I mean, he was throwing fun little sex trafficking events. I mean, in that sense, you know, considering what we just said about the Catholic Church being institutionalized pedophilia, maybe he did find religion in that sense. Maybe he found his people, you know. Right. He was like, oh wow, these are the real pedophiles. They're doing the sex trafficking like me, but on a bigger scale. Hell yeah.
Yeah, these are the pros.
Yeah, these are the real pros, exactly. So the trial, I guess it began basically with it began with testimony from a hotel worker who claimed that he saw, and there's video of this, I believe, or part of it. And this is, I think, the second video of him beating up Cassie in a hotel, but there's a video of Cassie.
There's multiple videos of him beating her up in a hotel?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it might have been the same night even. Like, it was like because she showed up, basically what happened is that there were calls from hotel employees to the police saying that there was like a partially naked woman and a very angry man in the lobby causing a problem, a domestic dispute, basically. And so that hotel worker testified, saying that after witnessing him beating up Cassie, basically, he tried to bribe him. And he said that he was like, the way that he bribed him was just like so like he had done this before and was just expecting like 100% that this guy would be on board with it. So it was the assistant director of security at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Century City. And he said that he got a report, the hotel worker got a report of a woman in distress on the 6th floor, and checked the cameras and saw Diddy pacing back and forth. And then he said that he rushed to the scene, saw Diddy in a towel, and saw Cassie on the floor. So this there's video of. And then Diddy says that he noticed a broken vase on the floor. And then he told Diddy that it would be charged to the room, blah, blah, blah. And then apparently Diddy later came up to him holding a stack of money and just said, don't tell anybody about what happened. And the security guard, to his credit, said no, and then said that the broken vase would be charged to his room, and that's it. The security guard testified that Diddy opened the door, grabbed the security guard's phone, asked him if he was recording Diddy. Flora said that he pinned Diddy to the wall after that, took photos of the broken vase. So, like, the security guard was really good. He really, like, helped the case a lot by testifying to this and by not taking the bribe. And so there's gaps in the footage, I guess, because the cameras are motion sensitive. And so they only went off when there was motion. So that was the first witness who said that. The next witness was a sex worker who, so the children left during the sex worker testimony because it was extremely graphic. And so, yeah, like it would be if you were going to this fucking trial. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, and like what the sex worker said, like the sex worker said that they peed in Cassie's mouth, which is disgusting.
Okay, so wait. So Cassie is Diddy's girlfriend?
Yeah, Cassie was Diddy's girlfriend, and was the first person to come out and say that he was an abuser. Basically, she started the train of other people coming out and saying, he also abused me. He also abused me. So she very, very bravely was the first person to say that Diddy was an abuser, which started this whole chain of events.
Well, and she's the woman who was getting beat on camera in this hotel.
Exactly. She's the person who was getting beat on camera in this hotel. And so when that came out, instead of taking the money, the hush money, she was like, yeah, that was me. I got beaten up. He's beaten me up before. He's done all this other fuck shit too.
Okay, good. And then, she's at these parties with him, and Diddy is having sex workers pee in her mouth.
Yeah. So like, this is like, I don't know if this seems like it's not a full freak off at this point. When he did with Cassie, I think he kind of got her more alone with like a couple people in hotel rooms and not like a massive party at his house, as much. So he's basically like, he's in this room. There's like a couple of male sex workers, Diddy and Cassie. He paid a sex worker to pee in Cassie's mouth. The sex worker testified to that. He also paid several sex workers over, not like one at a time, but, you know, over a course of time to have sex with Cassie while he jerked off in a corner. And while he did that, he repeatedly asked for more baby oil. He was like, not oily enough, more baby oil, which is fucking disgusting.
What is this guy's obsession with baby oil?
I mean, it's like a combo, I think, because he was also using it to drug people, you know, by like he was putting baby oil in them with Rohypnol in it or GHB or something like that.
So like it would go in through their skin?
He would anally put it into a lot of people. He would like anally suppository it, and then he would also put it all over their skin and it would get in their mouths and stuff like that. So it was just like double. But it seems based on this testimony that he just also kind of had a fetish for oil. And like baby oil is one that doesn't soak into your skin easily. And so it's what you use like on a movie set, for example, to make someone's hair look wet. And so he just had an obsession with baby oil, I guess. He just wanted everyone to be slippery.
It's like olive oil. He's into all oils.
Yeah, just various oils. He tried out all the oils, and baby oil was the one that worked the best, I guess. I mean,
fucking weirdo, man.
I just imagine him just like jerking off in a corner, more baby oil. Like, ugh.
I can't wait for the Diddy biopic.
Oh my fucking God, dude. Jesus Christ. So, okay, what is crazy about this to me? The daughters like got up and left the room dramatically, basically, when the sex worker was giving testimony. But when they played video of him beating the shit out of his girlfriend to like a very scary degree, the daughters did not leave the fucking courtroom. So they were like, God forbid we hear about like, you know, the sexual assault that he did, but we'll stay here for the actual video of our dad beating the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, what? I mean, I feel terrible for his kid. I mean, what a nightmare to be raised by this guy. I mean, I'm sure
how old are these kids? Because I feel terrible for them, but I also feel like at a certain age, it's like, don't support your father. Like, just don't do it. Don't go.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, why do you need to be there? And then like there's somebody literally on the stand talking about how he like paid somebody to pee in his girlfriend's mouth. And
well, don't worry. They left for that part. But I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, God forbid that like, I mean, because like this sex worker encounter is like the least bad of like a lot of the things that he did, honestly. Like he's doing like a cuck thing where he's jerking off in a corner. That's like for a sex worker, if you're asked to do that, you're a male sex worker. It's a relatively normal ask. It's not like a crazy thing to be paid for as a sex worker. It seems like Cassie wasn't really into it. But like considering the other things that he has done to Cassie and to other people, they're like, this is just the beginning. They're just starting off. This is nothing.
Yeah.
This is like, if anything, much more consensual than a lot of his other things. And yet the daughters had to leave, but they could see him like literally dragging Cassie by her hair while she was unconscious. Like, come on, people. Like, that's just like performative. That's stupid.
I have to believe he's going to be found guilty.
I mean, he has to be. It would be like, if he wasn't found guilty, like those jurors would be like in physical danger. Like he's so obviously guilty, at least of assaulting. Like there's like literal video of him assaulting Cassie. He is literally at least bare minimum is gonna have to be found guilty for that. And if they get a single celebrity like testimony, he's for sure going to be found guilty. Just one celebrity who had seen those parties would be enough.
Are they going to call? Do we know if they're calling any celebrity witnesses?
I mean, they can't really call any witness unless they've like really got evidence that that witness like has something of substance to say that it pertains to the case. And so I guess they're probably just, the lawyers are probably going around and just calling every single celebrity who might know anything at all and begging them to testify. I'll bet. Like I would bet they're begging Justin Bieber to testify. They're begging Usher to testify. Like there are these people who are close to him who, as far as we know, aren't testifying. Could be called on to testify.
Well, they can just subpoena them. Like they have to testify. It's by law. When you get issued a subpoena, you have to show up.
But also the judge has to approve the witnesses to be having information that pertains to the case, because you can't just have a witness go up there and be like, I had a turkey sandwich for lunch or whatever. And so I guess I wonder, like, are they just not able to find the proper evidence to subpoena them or something?
I feel like maybe you know how Justin Bieber's sort of gone off the deep end this past year?
I think that's related to Diddy, like him, like not him breaking his sobriety and stuff like that. It's gotta be. The
stress of it, like that. Yeah. Like it's going to be revealed that he like got, somebody peed in Justin Bieber's mouth or who knows what. Like
it's going to be revealed that he was molested as a kid and did a bunch of stuff. He's very, very religious too. Justin Bieber is super religious. And so like, that's like a sin to him, probably. That's like something he doesn't want to admit to and that he's like traumatized by and was hoping that he would never have to admit to. I mean, I'd probably break my sobriety too.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I feel terrible for him. Terrible.
He just seems like wounded and like he was taken advantage of when he was a kid. It's awful.
Yeah. Like I kind of fucking hate his ass just because of like, I don't know, he treated Selena Gomez like shit and seems like an asshole. But like, I feel terrible for him. He was abused. Like, he was abused and traumatized. Like, I totally get why he's kind of a maniac now.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't like OD. I feel like he's gonna. Like, it seems like he's headed for like a grim end unless he gets his shit together. Yeah.
I mean, like, there was a video of him looking just like smoking weed, but looking like pretty. I'm very confident in my ability to spot a person who is on drugs, and he was clearly on some kind of meth or coke or something like that.
He's gaunt.
He's gaunt, and like the way that he was in this specific video, he was doing that mouth thing that people on coke do, and he was gritting his teeth. And there was a moment where you could see his wife Hailey Bieber, related to the Baldwins, Stephen Baldwin's daughter, like kind of just ushered Justin Bieber's little brother like away from him. Like, okay, your little brother probably shouldn't see this. And that moment I was like, oh, okay, something is really wrong. Like, that's like, she's there next to him and she's making sure that his little brother is not seeing him like this. Like, something's really fucked there.
Hailey, this is your Uncle Alec. Your husband is tweaking on crystal meth.
You're a filthy pig, and I don't care what your mother says. I don't care if you're 13. Your husband is on cocaine.
Your husband is a dirty drug addict.
He's a filthy addict. I don't care what my brother Steven says, although his hair is beautiful.
He's grinding his teeth like a maniac. He's embarrassing our family.
Oh, do you think that Justin Bieber has like Thanksgiving with the Baldwins?
Like,
is he chatting with Hilaria Baldwin at Thanksgiving?
I doubt it, but I hope so.
I mean, if the Baldwins have Thanksgiving together,
they don't.
He must.
Alec is
you don't think they do?
He's at Lorne Michaels' house every year.
Right. They go to Thanksgiving at Lorne Michaels' house. There's like the Baldwins don't like each other very much.
I mean, I don't think there is really, really intense animosity, but I just don't think they're all super close and like they do that sort of. I think they're all kind of on their own little islands. But
they have their own little families or whatever that they're doing that. Unless Stephen Baldwin goes to Lorne Michaels' house too, who knows?
There's no way Lorne Michaels is letting Stephen Baldwin within 100 yards of his house.
Yeah, absolutely not. Stephen Baldwin, who is looking a little bit more like Steven Seagal by the day. Like they're kind of blending as people a little bit. Like he's got the hair. He's kind of started dressing a little bit like in those, Chinese collar coats and shit like that.
I saw Steven Seagal once. I gotta say that. Yeah.
Steven Seagal, who my grandma did costumes for, actually.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say your grandma fucked Steven Seagal.
Yeah, he had the biggest penis she's ever seen. No, my grandma has better taste than that, and she was much more attractive, to be clear.
So I was riding my bike, and I was in Hollywood on just like some side street. I forget what street it was, but I'm coming up to a red light, and I'm rolling to a stop, and then like literally next to me. Oh, you know what? It wasn't Steven Seagal. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was confusing.
Oh, that's an easy mistake to make, though. They do have very similar vibes. There's it's like the French-American versions of each other, sort of.
Yeah, but he was in a convertible Rolls Royce, and he just rolls up next to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, there he is!" But
that is a wild celebrity sighting to make. That is crazy. Yeah, my grandma can be more or less. Maybe more to blame for Steven Seagal's current style, because my grandma really, like, her fashion was very inspired by other places, and she really was into Chinese collars specifically and big pieces of jewelry. And she dressed him like that for a movie, and he kind of never stopped.
So she's the one.
She's low-key kind of the one.
So what do we got? I mean, Diddy, it's a disgusting spectacle.
Yeah, the jurors were thrilled to be done, to get out of there after hearing, 12 hours of the worst shit you've ever heard in your fucking life.
And like the ones who didn't actually have to, they go through that process where they're vetting jurors. Like the ones who were dismissed were like, thank God.
Yeah,
I don't have to sit through this and like be nauseated 12 hours a day.
Yeah, thank fucking God, dude. Like I would be really grateful for that also. I mean, at the same time, like I feel like I want jury duty too much, and that's why they don't call me for it. I'm like a little bit too eager. Like they can somehow tell that I'm like, if I got jury duty, I would immediately be like, yes, I'm in there. Let me get in there. I want to be the jury. Like I'm so down. Most people are like, I hate jury duty. I'm like begging. If I could volunteer for jury duty, I would.
Well, I feel like the jury for Diddy should use smoke to declare the verdict. I want black smoke if he's guilty and white smoke if he's innocent.
Or maybe for Diddy, it should be the other way around, right? Because it's like, it'd be really dark if he was found innocent. So maybe the black smoke is for innocence and white smoke is like, yay, he's found guilty.
There we go. We go. Yeah. And, just peeing in mouths. That's the thing I can't shake. It's just like, who's into that? What's up with that? Why would you do that?
Why do people do that? It's like fucking weird as hell. I guess it's a power thing, but like, oh God, it's so disgusting that it's like,
why would Cassie go along with this? Like, I would be like, motherfucker, I'm out of here. And I know like he's a violent, scary guy, but like, there's no way I would rather die.
It's just abusers. Like that's how abusers are. It's like they will do a bad thing and then they'll be like, oh my God, I did a bad thing. I'm so sorry. And they'll fawn over you until you're like, okay, wow, they did a bad thing, but they love me, over and over and over and over again. Also, she was probably being paid a lot of money. Like just to stay quiet and to like just be his girlfriend. She was probably getting all kinds of like insanely expensive gifts and cash and like things like that. And it's like, if you're being monetarily supported by that, that's hard to say no to, I guess.
Dude, if someone's peeing in my mouth, I want like $30 million like wired to my account. Like
she might have gotten something like that. Like not just for the pee, but like in general.
Yeah.
That's probably kind of what we're looking at. I mean, the bribe has to be fucking huge, and like maybe for somebody who's also a little bit more poor than we are, who's like, that amount of money means a lot more to them.
Well, fuck Diddy. Like, that's all I get.
Yeah.
This guy.
I hope he dies.
Guy's a piece of shit. Like,
or I don't hope he dies. I hope that he like is in solitary confinement for the rest of his life, because that seems worse than dying. Like, fuck this guy.
He's just
like break the Geneva Conventions. I don't care. Waterboard him. Whatever.
He just needs to. He's a danger. He's a danger to people.
Yeah, big time.
What's his problem?
He can't be in public. He's like, he needs to be put away in a big way.
I wonder, like, what do we know about his? Do we ever talk about his past? Like, why is he so fucked up? What happened to these people?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wonder. It's like with R. Kelly, I watched that whole documentary, and you find out that, you know, as a kid he was abused, and that's what happened. And I have to assume something like that happened with Diddy, because abusers generally don't come out of nowhere. Generally, they are the results of having been abused as a child. But we don't really know fucking anything about Diddy's past or his history or his father or his mother or anything like that. Like, and I have to assume that we will find out, because that is certainly going to be part of his defense. Like, he was also abused as a child.
That'll be like the last straw defense.
Yeah, it's got to be like the finale of the defense. Like, and look at all the ways he was abused. Don't you feel bad for him? That's what I would do if I was his defender, which I would never be, to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, I feel bad for, like, if that happened to him, I feel bad for, like, the kid Diddy.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, like, Jesus, I feel bad for, like, the kid Ted Bundy. Like, just children are innocent. Once they become older and do fucked up shit, then they're fucking evil and deserve to be put away. But when you're a child, you're a child. Did
something happen to Ted Bundy when he was a kid?
Every single serial killer who exists, something happened to them as a kid. It is the... it's the main thing that every single serial killer shares as a trait that they found out from psychologically profiling. Like, serial killer, like not somebody who's just like in the military killing people, although that's questionable too, but like serial killer, like, you know, Ted Bundy, fucking like Charles Manson, like these people had, like, you have to have been abused to be able to like do something like that.
You would think.
Yeah, I mean, you would think there hasn't been a serial killer who exists who was not abused as a young person in some capacity. So, I mean, I have to assume that didn't come out of nowhere. And if it did, like, holy shit, he might literally be the devil. Like, actually the devil. So, our next story is, well, it's also extremely dark, but it's a little bit more fun, at least.
It's dark but fun.
It's dark but fun, you know? It involves elder abuse in a funny way. So who we're talking about here is Bill Belichick's new girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, and how his family is extremely concerned about him with this new relationship.
And let's set this up. He's 73, I think, and she's 24.
So there's a 48-year age difference between the two of them.
And he's like an old kind of like portly football coach,
right?
And she's like a super hot like cheerleader type.
Yeah, she's a former cheerleader, former or current Miss America pageant. Like she's young enough that she only, how old did you say she was? 27, 26?
24.
24. Okay, she's 3 years away from being too old for a Miss America pageant. Like, so she's still competing in Miss America pageants. Former cheerleader, super, super hot. Bill Belichick looks like an old man who has never gotten plastic surgery. Like, he looks maybe like a tiny bit less tired than Alec Baldwin, but not much. He's not like it's not like you're dating like a 70-year-old George Clooney, who I'm sure would still be very attractive. Like, it's not even like an Al Pacino. Like, he's not good looking. And he's not really that charming either. Like, he's like, I mean, I don't really know anything about him, but like, is he like a charming guy?
He seems kind of like monotone to me. Like, he's just sort of like, and he's like just obsessed with football. Like, I feel like football is the only thing he cares about. Like, he doesn't, like, you know, like, he's like,
what do they talk about? Like, does she like football that much? There's no way. I don't think they talk at all. I mean, like, and like, I'll say this, which I think I probably have mentioned before on the podcast, which is that I watched that documentary about Anna Nicole Smith, and seeing her whole life up to the point where she married that guy who I think was like literally 90 or something, or 80 or something like that. I actually came to the conclusion that I do think that they were married on some level for love. I think she really loved him, and I think he really loved her. I think he was like, I have this hot young girl. She was like, I have this man who is kind and supportive and not cheating on me and adopted my son and is giving me a place to live and has been good to me.
Or adopted
and she loved
her,
him for
I think
it.
adopted her daughter, Danny Lynn.
Oh, daughter. Maybe it was a daughter. Yeah. And like, you know, that she had like a really hard, you know, upbringing. She really had bad experiences with men her whole life. That makes sense to me. And she was also an adult. She was like 40 something, like when she married him, like she was not 24, you know, whatever. So I'm like very forgiving of age gap relationships given the right context. But this is insane. It's genuinely insane. And
he's old enough to be her grandfather.
Yeah, literally her grandfather. It's not even old enough to be her father, like her literal grandfather, which like given probably the same with Anna Nicole Smith, but just very, very different circumstances, like extremely different. That did not strike me as elder abuse. It kind of does strike me as elder abuse, although I do think that after a certain income level, elder abuse doesn't exist anymore, but that's another conversation. So I guess this week or last week, I've lost track of time. He had an interview. Was it with Access Hollywood?
I think it was a CBS like morning show that he was talking to somebody, and then this is when it like, because I mean this has been a story for a while, but this I feel like this CBS interview where Jordan like interrupted it essentially, like she was sitting off camera and like just started interrupting the interview, and it gave like a lot of new life to the story and like made things turn into like a big scandal.
Yeah, and like what I will say is that like it's not abnormal for somebody to be doing an interview like this and to have a publicist sort of crouching off camera and saying like he's not going to answer that, or like we can't do that question. Usually they just cut it out of these interviews and you never see it. But I've given some interviews where that happened. It's like it's not uncommon. But she's not his publicist, she's his girlfriend. And so her like crouching off of camera and saying shit like that is weird, which is why they left it in the interview, because obviously it leads to a better interview and is like, you know, more interesting. But we do have an audio clip from where she interrupted the interview that is specifically leading people to think this is weird as fuck, because it is. So let's listen.
Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
I'm not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
So, okay. Weird as fuck, right? Like, as soon as he says, how did you guys meet? She jumps in and says no. Almost as if she had been sort of, and like in this video, it's like Bill Belichick's being interviewed, but then the camera pans to the side and you can see her crouching next to what must be like the sound mixer or something like that, or producer or whatever. And jumps in with that as if she's his publicist. And he doesn't talk about it. They're just like, okay, and they move on. Now, what do you think she's trying to hide?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say they met on an airplane. They were on a flight together.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was sitting next to him, and then he autographed some book. She was reading something and he started talking to her about it, and then he signed the book. And like that was how the relationship got started.
Yeah. So I've watched enough Housewives, and I have known enough people in my life to understand, like, I think she was a sex worker. I think that's how they met. I think, cause like, if you're a sex worker and that's how you meet a rich old man, like in Real Housewives, if you watch and they'll say, how did you meet? And you see a hot young woman with kind of like a whatever old rich man. And they'll be like, oh, we were in a restaurant and we just caught eyes across the restaurant and just couldn't stop looking at each other. And you're like, bullshit. That guy who looks like a fucking potato, like a melting potato, you locked eyes with him and you were like, I'm in love. No, you're an escort who saw a rich man, and that's your job. And the Jordan Hudson seems to have turned it into a full-time job here, where she's like, okay, it's a long-term girlfriend experience. And I mean, that's my feeling, is that he met her as an escort and then was like, actually, like, I'm in love with you or whatever. And she was like, okay.
And I think she might be potentially a spy. She's a honey trap. What if that's part of the story?
Like she's working for Putin, you think? You think this all, everything ties back to Russia for Brad?
She's a Red Sparrow.
She's a Red Sparrow.
She's trying to ruin the greatest professional football coach in history.
She has a video that she's blackmailing him with of him peeing in her mouth.
That's right.
Yeah, that's when they were talking about the P tape, that's the real P tape. It's not Trump. It is Bill Belichick pissing.
Putin has P tapes on all these guys. That's the thing. He's
got a fucking just locker, just a vault full of P tapes on just every single person, and Bill Belichick's is like in a glass air-controlled box that is in the center of the room. It's the most valuable P-tape that he has of all the P-tapes.
Well, and the thing that's kind of interesting about the dynamic, and I mean, again, I'm basing this just on the videos that I've seen, but Bill Belichick, who's supposedly this alpha football coach, with the most Super Bowl wins ever and all this stuff, is kind of submissive around her. She's 24. Yep. He just kind of follows her lead, and she seems like she's kind of controlling and in his business. And she has amassed in the time that they've been together, which I think is less than a year.
Less than a year for sure. It's been a couple months.
Something, maybe longer than that. But she has an $8 million real estate portfolio since she met this guy. She's gone out and he's bought all this real estate, possibly in her name. His kids, meanwhile, are freaking out and are worried, publicly worried about their father, but she's also taking all of his money. And
they're worried about their money. I'll bet their dad seems happier than he's ever seemed.
He's like, yeah, I've got.
She's like, look at my hot fucking cheerleader 24-year-old girlfriend. Hell yeah, I'm gonna buy her $8 million in real estate, because he knows that there is an arrangement here. He knows that she is with him and she is gonna act affectionate and loving and fuck him in so much as he's willing to pay for her life, and he's doing it. Well, she's a high-paid employee.
And this, speaking of employee, there was a story that she was, because Bill Belichick is now the head football coach of the University of North Carolina, and this will be his first season. He just took the job, and then there was a story that Jordan had been banned from university facilities, the football facilities, and then
the football field, she couldn't.
Yeah,
be
and
on it? Okay.
The offices and the locker room and stuff, and then the school then issued a statement saying, no, she has not been banned. But the reporter who broke that story then rebutted and was they're covering it up. I have high level sources in the football program.
Oh, shit.
They're lying is essentially what he's saying. I tend to believe the reporter.
I believe they're lying because they wouldn't want to tell the truth. The source saying that they're lying is anonymous, and the source saying they're not lying isn't anonymous. I mean, I tend to think that he's probably she is probably telling the truth, and that Jordan Hudson is banned.
I think they should let her in. I think they should embrace this whole thing. And I
agree.
Just make her the mascot of the university, put her in a cheerleading outfit, let her do a private show, out on the field at halftime.
Let her do a solo show at halftime. Exactly. Yeah. Everyone would fucking love it. They would be yes, Jordan Hudson, we love her. She's so hot and supportive and fun. Just let her do it. Let her be in the fucking public eye. It honestly makes me wonder if she's even wanting to be in the public eye. Maybe being in the public eye is posing a problem for the lifestyle that she's wanting to lead with him.
Fuck, dude, she's trying in the Miss USA pageant. She wants to be in the public eye.
Oh, that's true. She is. She's trying to be Miss USA. Of course she wants to be in the public eye.
She's in high heels and a bikini. I don't want to be in the public eye.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me, everybody.
I mean, so Brad and I did a little research before this episode on Jordan Hudson, because we were who the fuck is this person? Where does she come from? We know she was a cheerleader. We know that she is possibly doing elder abuse. We know that she's really hot.
I was speculating that she was born in Belarus and, was trained by Putin's operatives. She was trained by the Russian spy services.
Brad was ready to call her a honey trap if she was from any part of Eastern Europe, any country in Eastern Europe. Oh, she's for Putin. That's what it is. Again, we've got another Putin honey trap. Here we go.
But where is she from?
She is from Provincetown, Maine.
Provincetown is in Massachusetts, but she's from Maine originally.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. So she's from Maine originally.
Which is the most Russia-like state in the Union, I should say. It's cold. It's frigid.
Yeah? More than Alaska?
That's true. In the contiguous United States.
It's the second most Russian, which is, I mean, placing second in that is not nothing.
Well, Putin is never obvious. He always likes to be subtle in the way that he works. And
that's right. He wouldn't go straight for Alaska.
He would never go straight for Alaska. No.
No, he's a better evil guy than that. So, but she is not from Alaska or Russia. She is from Maine. Very Russia-like state. Fair. She's from Maine, but apparently her parents own a sex shop in Provincetown.
After first making their living, like owning like a fishery in Maine.
Their fishery in Maine went bankrupt. And so they decided to start a sex club in
Or it's a sex shop. It's a sex shop. And I think there's even like a sex museum. Like this is deeply weird.
It's deeply weird. It is a very, very fucking strange transition to make from working on fishing boats to owning a sex shop. Like, why? How do you do that? How do you get there? Like, what happened that like got her family to that point?
Well,
because for me, I'd be like, oh, like, okay, maybe I should start like a butchery or something like that. Like, it's not a natural place to go from having a fishery.
I think it's a front. It's got to be like a front.
Oh, you think it's a front? Like, you think it's like a front for something less legal?
KGB, gangster activity.
It's a front for the KGB. They still exist, but only behind this sex shop in Provincetown.
That's right.
I mean, okay, if we're just going to wildly speculate here about things that probably aren't true, it could be a cover up for like an escort business.
I mean, and this is their
and like
daughter.
If their daughter was an escort and they went out of their company went bankrupt, and she was like, "Look, I know a way to make money. I know some people who are already doing this and who need a place to go or who need somebody to help them out."
I mean,
sex shop is a good front.
It would be a very American story if, like in economic dire straits, it was like literally the only option is that
bootstraps.
Your daughter's a call girl, and she's like, "Okay, I figured out how to make money."
I mean, it's in a sense, it is the American dream story, right? It's like you are poor, you show up, you start a business, you become successful, it's a family business, you're pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, even though you're having a hard time. It's quintessentially American.
I can't wait for A24 to make a movie about this relationship where the Bill Belichick character goes to meet the parents for the first time. He's meeting his 24-year-old girlfriend's parents for the first time.
They're like younger than him.
Yeah, he's 73 and they own a sex shop and he's in Provincetown and they give him a gift. They're like, "Here you go, Bill. We're so happy for you guys. You know, we're so happy that our daughters found love. Here's a gift basket with some dildos and vibrators, and we found a butt plug that looks like a football for you, Bill."
You can shoot it out of your ass like a football too. It'll go spinning across the room.
And I got to say too, this is an excellent opportunity for Brad Learns, because I've heard of the term butt plug. I understand there's such a thing in the world as a butt plug, but like, it's like a stimulating thing to put this thing in your ass. Like, why do people even have these?
Well, it's actually it's more of a cork. You kind of put it in there so that the shit doesn't come out. No.
I was wondering. I was like, is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to keep it in, so
you're trying to keep the shit fresh, like it's like a wine bottle. You gotta cork it, or it's not fresh anymore.
That's right. You've got to decant it afterwards, but it's
No, from what I understand, a butt plug is like how like men are supposed to get like the best orgasm they can ever get from like prostate stimulation. It's something like that. It's like it's supposed to make you come better or something like that.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's I think women use them too though, so I don't know. I gotta say that I've had a slut era, but that whole area is not for I don't know what's going on in that area, and it is none of my business.
It's just so much work. Get all this gear. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. How disgusting.
Keeping it clean. I mean, like, Jesus, the bottoms of the world, like, respect to you, because they go through they're fasting before they're having sex. I mean, they go through some shit before they can fuck. Like, literally. Yeah, they go through some shit. It's rough, but yeah, so that's what a butt plug is. I feel like I do have to say a story here, which is that the first time I met my mother-in-law, she gave me a vibrator.
As one does.
As one does, you meet your son's girlfriend for the first time. It's a very serious relationship. You're going to move in together, and would you like a vibrator? And I think this is how my mother-in-law and I developed a good relationship right away, was by me responding, "Oh, thank you, but we already have one, actually."
We've got an assortment of vibrators.
Yeah, we have a whole cabinet. It's just full of just the craziest things you've ever seen in your life. We got dildos. We got
Is this something that she does like on the regular? Like, is this a gift that she commonly gives to people, or was it specific to you?
Oh, well, without going into too much detail, because it would probably be an entire episode, my mother-in-law does, you could call it sex therapy, you could call it a sex retreat, but it works in the field of what she does. You can Google it. It's called sexological body work. So she is kind of an influencer in the space. She'll get sex toys from different companies that, she's talking about on her Instagram or whatever.
So she was probably re-gifting you a vibrator.
That's what I suspect. Because it was a nice vibrator, but I suspect that she got it for free and was like, "Oh, I'm meeting my daughter-in-law for the first time. Why don't I go give her this?" Just to me, I got it and I was like, "Do you think that we don't have a good sex life or something? What is this?" You're like, "Oh, I don't know, my son, here you go." What the fuck?
You're going to need a little extra help.
Yeah, trust me, you're going to need some heads. Which is kind of why I said we already have one. I wanted her to rest assured we're good in that department. But I have to assume that is what Jordan Hudson's parents did to Bill Belichick as well. Is give him a vibrator and a dildo and a butt plug and be like, "You're going to need this, trust me."
Thank you so much for the butt plug. That looks like a football. He's the most monotone guy.
Is that what he sounds like?
You heard him on the tape. He's just
monotone.
Just total. And he was kind of infamous for this as a coach. He would give these monotone press conferences that betrayed no emotion, that were just he did it almost as a taunt to the media. So
part of why, because I really until now had no idea that Bill Belichick was even a person. You could tell me that name and I'd be like, "Who the fuck was that?" I have no fucking idea. So I'm kind of just now learning about what his deal is. So this person is not even a particularly fun old guy. He's not even a particularly charming, funny, joking around, partying kind of old guy. It's not when Anna Nicole Smith married that guy, he was old as fuck, but he was still funny. He I could see why they were having funny conversations and they liked each other. But Bill Belichick is not really like that.
I think honestly, it's a midlife crisis at 73, because he's been the coach of New England. He was the coach at New England for 20 years, which is a really long tenure for.
How is he not retired? 73 years old? Fucking, that's crazy.
It's his entire identity. He's been coaching football since he was 20 years old. And then he lost the job at New England after a long, successful run.
How did he lose the job? Did he do something wrong, or he just?
Yeah, they just started losing, and it was just time. And he'd been there for it was just time. He'd been there for a long, long time, and Tom Brady
got old
retired.
And they started losing.
Yeah, and then I think he lost his identity, and I think he tried to be a media personality, go on sports talk shows and stuff, and
he just was monotone and sucked.
Yeah, it's monotone, and he's just a coach. He's a football nerd and a coach.
Right.
And I think he was kind of lost. And then he also, I guess, had gotten a divorce at some point. So he was probably lonely.
Right. And then he was probably lonely. He probably met a very pretty escort and was like, "Here's my number. Give me a call if you want to go out to dinner or whatever." Liked her and was like, "I think that we should date. I'm a millionaire." And she was like, "Great." Because a sex worker is not going to date her client, generally speaking. It is assuming she's a sex worker, which I don't know. But a sex worker is not going to date their client unless the client will make them kind of financially stable, or unless it's a freak situation and they fall in love with them, which almost never happens because there's really a professional barrier there. So this is an arrangement. Let's be real. And it's an arrangement that unless Bill Belichick is actually a little bit senile, I think it's an arrangement that he is okay with and agreed to and is fine with.
I mean, he bought her $8 million worth of real estate.
So unless it's a real case of elder abuse, and in order for it to be a real case of elder abuse, it would have to be that he was confused or not. His brain wasn't totally there to some degree. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like he wouldn't be hired as a coach for a college football team if his brain wasn't all the way there.
I think his brain's fine. I think he seems actually fairly youthful for a guy his age. But I just think that there's a controlling thing happening, and I think it's like some sort of like crisis. I think it's like an existential crisis for him.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And I get it. Like, it's like hard to admit that you're old and you're like closer to the end than you are even the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he's at the end of his life, and like
it's
then
like
his
the third quarter life crisis.
fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He's
absolutely.
He's 73.
End of fourth quarter life crisis.
Yeah. So he's really like actuarially, he's
probably got a decade left
at most.
Yeah.
And you never know. I mean, he could have 3 decades left for all I know, but it's just like
maybe that would be freakish if he had 3 decades left, like 2 decades, probably at most. Maybe 3 if he's like in the most healthy man in the world or something. But like, I feel like they have an arrangement where she hangs out around him and is controlling and insane, but like also probably is like giving out blowjobs generously. And he's like, you know what? I'm old and this is fun. Whatever. I've got money. Fuck my kids.
Maybe they have some sort. Yeah. Maybe if he's smart, he's like, okay, I'm going to be worth $100 million by the time I die. You can have like 15 of it and live a nice life. And then,
or maybe it's like, even I'll split it between you and my kids and you all get an even amount. And like their kids are going to be fucking pissed about that, but everybody will be rich nonetheless.
Who fucking knows? I don't know.
I think the kids are like, honestly, like it seems to me like they're concerned and upset in like a public manner because of their money, because they're planning on, when he dies, maybe having a legal issue with Jordan Hudson about who was owed the money. And so if there is like a paper trail of them having said that they were worried about him beforehand, it's a better case for them.
Well, yeah, and I honestly don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
Listen, if my dad started dating a 24-year-old like sex worker when he's like in his 80s, I would be concerned.
I mean, look, my dad has dated women who are younger than me. I mean, he dated she was like 26 or something like that. And I was like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, this person is dating you so that you can like financially help them. And he was like, no. And then of course they broke up with him because he wasn't financially helping them. I mean, it's the dumbest thing in the fucking world.
You're either my meal ticket or I'm out of here.
Yeah, because who the fuck is gonna fucking date a fucking 60 whatever the fuck year old when you're like a hot fucking 26-year-old, unless there's like something there that is appealing to you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a mess, and it's like gross, and the whole world of football is just
football should be illegal as far as I'm concerned. Like, genuinely, I believe that.
There's so much money in it, and it's such a brutal game, and there's just an air of criminality in there. There's something like just criminal in it. Well,
and you're also just like sending these men, it's like Gladiator fucking or something. You're sending these like big buff guys. You're paying them okay, but they don't have like as strong of a union as say basketball players. Like, they could be fucked over much easier and have been.
Well, they don't get
various injuries and stuff. Like,
they're starting to get guaranteed salaries in the NFL, but for the longest time they didn't. So you could sign them to a contract, and they're getting paid like $5 million a year, $10 million a year, and then you just decide to cut them, and you don't have to pay them anything else. You can just
for any reason. It's like no fault firing or whatever it is. Like, no, what is it? Just cause, whatever the fuck. You can fire them for any reason, and even if they get an injury. Like, they could be like, oh, you got an injury, you can't perform the rest of the season, you don't get paid, fuck you. And like, that's crazy considering that like these people are getting
they get paid
brain damage every day.
If they're under contract and they get injured, they do get paid, but then they can get cut.
They can get cut after they get injured though, which is like extremely common if someone has an injury that it's not going to let them play for the rest of the season. I
think there's some, I don't know what there
have they added like an injury thing now?
I just think that like if you I think you can't cut a player who's currently on injured reserve after, if he was under contract when he got hurt. I think if there's got to be some sort of payoff or something, you got to pay him. Like if you do release them, you've got to
I feel settle. Like I read something that was fucked about that, and I can't remember what it was, but I have to imagine that they get something when they get hurt. Then again, though, if you can cut somebody for any reason, there has to be something specific in the contract saying that you can't cut them if they get hurt. Otherwise, they would get cut everyone who got hurt.
Yeah. So it's a brutal sport. And I think that,
I think it should be illegal. I genuinely think it should be illegal to like make a bunch of young men get brain damage every single day for like a salary that's not even guaranteed. But
a lot of them are getting paid a ton, but not all of them. And
getting paid a ton to get brain damage that literally like statistically causes you to beat your wife. I mean, it's like, I might be like that meme, the friend that's too woke or whatever. But like, if there was like a vote across America, should football be illegal? In a second, I would say yes, it should be illegal.
Yeah, it's a savage.
And I'll bet the girlfriends of every football player on the fucking planet would also say yes, it should be illegal.
I mean, then that big salary goes away.
But so does that big brain damage.
Yeah. It's like, make your choice, I guess. You're either going to be married to like a multi-million-dollar football superstar with brain damage, or you're going to be married to like a gym teacher or,
right,
some guy selling insurance or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Which I guess kind of brings us to our next topic, which is about Taylor Swift, who is famously not married to yet, is famously dating a football player. And this is today's edition of Brad Learns.
Brad's in the world, what's trending now? Got his iPhone, but don't know how. Scrolling for me, lost in hate.
So, right before this episode, Brad was asking me about why everybody is talking about this appearance that Taylor Swift made, which wasn't even an appearance. She was seen in a restaurant getting brunch for Mother's Day with her family and the Kelseys. And
that seems like a sign that things are going well with her and Travis if the families are together.
Yeah, I think things are going very well with her and Travis. And there's been, people have been like suspecting like, oh, is something like wrong with her and Travis? Because since the Super Bowl, we haven't seen a lot of them. Normally, you're seeing them all over the place. They're posting or they're getting dinner with this or that person. You're seeing them maybe even once a week since they've started dating. And we haven't really, this is like the first time we've seen them in like a month or something like that, maybe two, which is like a lot for Taylor Swift. It's the first time we've seen them together, I think, since the Super Bowl, maybe?
So like, a couple months, 2-3 months.
Yeah, something like that. But Brad was asking because a lot of the Swifties have been talking about how the dress that she wore to Mother's Day, this Mother's Day thing, was an Easter egg. And I realize this is going to it's going to require some explaining that is going to make me and a lot of people sound schizophrenic. So let me see if I can, the best that I can do. So she did this Mother's Day thing. Okay. Now, something that viewers probably already understand because I'm me and I talk about things to an annoying degree. I come from a long line of yappers. Taylor Swift has been undergoing a project where she is re-recording all of her previous albums so that she can own the masters because her previous record label owns the masters to the original albums. So she's been trying to re-record them basically as close to the original version as she can. And then she has deals with Spotify and all these different streaming services to make it so that those are the only version of the albums that you can listen to, basically. So the two albums that she has not come out yet with in Taylor's version are her debut album, Taylor Swift, and Reputation.
So wait, did these remakes, do they sound like pretty much note perfect, like exactly like the old ones? Are there any like noticeable changes?
So legally, if you're doing a cover of somebody else's song, you have to make it sound distinct in some way. It has to sound different than the original in some way. And so Taylor Swift has done some very smart, small things to make each of her covers sound distinct. Things like just like production things, like she adds,
she's not covering anybody. She's not covering anybody.
She's covering herself.
It's her own songs.
But because the record label owns her masters, they're not her own songs.
These fucking tyrants.
Exactly. And so she did something that literally no other artist has ever done before and has changed the music industry permanently, which is re-recording all of her masters as technically covers so that she gets all of the money for it. So the two albums that she has not released yet are Reputation and Debut. Now, she came out with all of the other albums before and during the Eras tour. So this is the longest gap that we've had between re-records since she started re-recording the albums. And the people don't know whether Debut or Reputation is going to come first. That's the question. But what we know is this. So when Reputation came out the first time, she quote unquote disappeared. She was not seen between the end of the Super Bowl and Mother's Day originally in 2018 when Reputation came out. And now she was not seen between the Super Bowl and Mother's Day. So
where was she? I wonder where she was hiding.
One of her 25 mansions. Like, fuck if I know.
But yeah, we don't have any intel on that.
No, none. And that's what it was like with the original Reputation too. I'll bet she was just hiding in her house. And so she then came out with Reputation with a caption that just said, there will be no explanation. There will only be reputation. That's like the thing now that everyone says. And so when she's come out with these re-records, she sort of psychotically recreated the circumstances she was under when she recorded them. So for example, when she recorded 1989, re-recorded 1980, well, when she originally recorded 1989, she was hanging out, people will remember, with that group of supermodels. And that was like her super squad. That's who she was hanging out with. And so when she came out with 1989, the re-record, she again started hanging out with a large group of supermodels for a little while just during the album cycle, and then stopped hanging out with them when she was done with the album cycle. So she's been just like pretty in an insane way. And like when she did Speak Now, she wore her hair curly like she wore for Speak Now. So she's been doing this. And so people basically are assuming that this disappearance that she made up until Mother's Day is an Easter egg for Reputation TV coming out soon.
What is Reputation TV?
TV, I'm sorry.
Oh, Taylor's version.
Taylor's version. Yeah,
okay.
I'm using the fucking insane Swiftie shorthand. It's just, I'm really revealing myself as a fucking maniac. So
this is also like melodramatic.
Yeah, it's like so melodramatic and just like so theater kid, like just like ridiculous shit. And like that's not even all. So she wore a dress to this Mother's Day thing. And on the dress were daisies. Specifically daisies that are like, you can look up Reputation Daisy Easter egg and it'll show you. She has a daisy that she drew in the Reputation liner notes that went alongside the lyric in the liner notes, which is in the song Don't Blame Me. She says, I once was poison ivy, but now I'm your daisy. And so daisies were like a ongoing motif for the release of and like the merch for and things like that for Reputation. So I would say, knowing Taylor Swift, it's certainly intentional that she wore a dress with daisies on it for this particular outing, in which she came back out into the public, and there were just these like small little photos of her and Mother's Day right after she had disappeared since the Super Bowl, which is exactly what happened last time. So first of all, okay, well, and then there's another one, which is that she, on her website, rearranged the shop so that there is a landing page when you go to her shop, and it's like what is it? It's like apparel, merch, accessories, sale. And so those letters spell out AMAs, which has led people to think that she is going to drop Reputation TV at the AMAs.
Like announce it.
Yeah, like announce Reputation TV at the AMAs.
And it's just based on this supposed acronym that people are like obsessively reading into on her website?
Yes, but what I will say is that I'm nearly 100% sure that it was intentional, because Taylor Swift does this. It's why her fan base is so insane, because sometimes they'll come up with Easter eggs where you're just like, that is way too complicated and crazy, and there is no way she intended that. Like, you're having genuine schizophrenia, like it's a psychotic episode. But other times there's an Easter egg like that one where, okay, clearly she appeared on Mother's Day the same amount of timing as the original Reputation. And then that same day, for some reason, her entire website was rearranged so that there's this weird landing page on the shop that spells out AMAs that wasn't there before.
So wait,
and
if I go to taylorswift.com, will I see this?
Yeah, go to taylorswift.com. You can click on the shop. You'll probably see things lined up.
I'm seeing the arrows.
Or like shop all. Yeah, you have to do like shop all or something like that. I mean, the other thing is that her website has been used for Easter eggs a lot of times. She's used like glitches on her website to be Easter eggs to announce other albums. So there's precedence for this.
Okay, so it says shop now, archive, directed projects, sign up.
Nope, you have to go to like the shop And then it's like shop all or something like that. Maybe she took it down, because another thing that she will do is she'll have for short, like there was a time where she had on her website before she launched or before she announced Tortured Poets Department, she had a error code on her website that said 321, error code 321. And then it had like the words red herring misspelled in the error. And so people read the error code and saw 321 and immediately thought of the chant that people do at Taylor Swift concerts for one of her songs, where they go 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. And they thought that meant Reputation was coming out, because that's a Reputation song.
This is so bonkers.
It's completely bonkers. And like the problem is that like Taylor Swift will play into certain things purposefully, and other things are completely clearly made up, but she doesn't address them. So nobody can really know like how insane she's actually being and if the Easter eggs people make up are real or not. I tend to believe that she is only intentionally doing the ones that are clearly intentional and that are like not extremely hidden and crazy. And something like wearing a daisy dress, appearing on Mother's Day, rearranging your website so it spells out AMAs in this kind of secret way are all basically things that she's done before.
All right. Well, I mean, it's good for business for her if all of her fans are like obsessing about the minutia of her website.
It's why Swifties are so insane, because there is this ongoing conversation relationship between Taylor and her fans where they're often completely schizophrenic, but then it pays off like a lot of the time. And so like people will come up with just every theory they can think of, increasingly insane theories. And sometimes it pays off. So then her fans just end up being incredibly, insanely invested in this like puzzle of like when this is going to happen, even though we all know, everybody knows that Reputation TV is for sure going to come out at some point. But people are still freaking out about these Easter eggs. It's the power of Taylor Swift.
All right. Yeah. People just
She's insane.
People need something to like obsess over.
People need something to obsess over. If you're already part of like a fandom where you want to obsess, that's where Taylor Swift shines, because she gives you fodder to obsess over. If you're wanting to obsess over somebody, she's like, here are a million different things you can obsess over. Enjoy.
When are the AMAs? When are we going to get a verdict on this?
Good question. Let's Google it. When are the AMAs? May 26th.
All right. So we got 2 weeks, basically.
We got 2 weeks. And I mean, I think she probably will announce Reputation at the AMAs. And I think that she will probably say there will be no explanation. There will only be Reputation. I think she'll say those embarrassing words. And all of her fans will know. I
mean, and will everyone go out and buy this new album that's not even a new album? It's just this. She's going to make a fortune selling an album that she already sold.
Oh, Brad, let me tell you something. Every time she has come out with a re-record, she does not only come out with a physical CD, a physical vinyl. She comes out with like 12 versions of a physical vinyl in different colors. And she has vault tracks, which are songs that she wrote at the time of originally recording the album that didn't make it on the album. So she re-records those, or records those for the first time, I guess, and puts those on the albums. And then she'll sell these different editions of each album that have different, different vault tracks on them. So it's like, if you want to hear all the vault tracks right away, you have to buy like 10 different colors of the vinyl of the CD.
Do you do that? Do you buy this? Like all these?
And let me tell you, Brad, yes, I do. I'm not as insane as some of them. I tend to buy only one version of each vinyl. But that means that I own 2 vinyls for every Taylor Swift album. And that's not all. She comes out with, since her song Cardigan, in that music video, she's wearing a cardigan. And ever since then, she has come out with a new themed cardigan for every album. And Brad, do you know how many of them I own?
I don't
I
know.
own one for every single re-record that she has done. I have bought every single cardigan. And you know what? They are an appreciating asset.
I get it. But like, what is, like, I'm just so curious, like, why she inspires this level of devotion.
I mean, it's because she feeds it. And she loves it. And she needs it. And she knows how to cultivate it. She knows how she is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok every single day, scrolling through the Swiftie fan accounts. And like, she has interacted with them enough to show that she is doing this constantly. She is liking different, like, you know, videos of babies dancing to her songs that are funny and shit like that. Like, she is like in there in such an intense way, because what's unique about her is that she is as much a businesswoman as she is a songwriter, and as good of a businesswoman as she is a songwriter. And she's a really fucking good songwriter. So like, she is out here coming up with brand new ways to engage her fan base so hard that they are willing to spend $100 on what is ultimately a shitty cardigan. Like, that's like, she can do it more than anybody else maybe ever in the history of music. Because you could have like the Beatles, for example, right? Beatlemania is often compared to like the Eras Tour, rightfully so. But the Beatles...
They weren't selling cardigans.
Exactly. The Beatles weren't selling cardigans, and they weren't putting Easter eggs out, and they weren't like doing all this crazy shit, but their fans were still obsessed with them. Taylor Swift took that to a new level where she's like, yes, you're obsessed with me. Yes, you're crying just to see me in concert. Also, there's a puzzle that everybody needs to figure out. And the first person who figures it out could get Taylor Swift's attention. That's like always a possibility to people.
John, I think we should sell cardigans, John.
Or
Paul, I think we should sell cardigans, Paul.
Sell some cardigans, Paul. Well, that's Australian.
I think maybe we should sell some cardigans at the Beatles show. Ringo, what do you think? We should sell Beatles cardigans.
Should we get a life-sized yellow submarine, eh? Hey, mate, should we perform in a life-size yellow submarine? I don't know.
I mean, as if she's not making enough money. She's like bilking all of her fans for cardigan sweaters. She is
making so much money, and she is like putting the exact same amount of work in as she did when she was like 14 and like trying to make money, which is like normally at this point in someone's career, they're not the most famous that they've ever been. They're kind of winding down a little bit. She's been working since she was like literally 14 years old. And like, she is just such a fucking crazy maniac, psychotic person that she's like, not only do I need to keep making music, I need that music to continue to be popular. And I need everybody to remember that I exist all the time, even when I am not in their faces. Like, I need to be able to go have like one photo taken of me at like a Mother's Day brunch, and then have everybody know that that means that there's a puzzle they have to solve. Like, she broke the code. She figured it out.
She figured it out. Well, we'll wait and see if this all comes to fruition at the American Music Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Mira, thanks for teaching me even more about... I'm going to be an expert on Taylor Swift just by knowing you. I mean,
you almost... comparatively to people who are like your gender and age demographic, you probably know a lot more about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And Blake Lively better watch it. She's got it. I think Taylor just got subpoenaed in that Baldoni thing. And
she did. And they had to release her team had to release a statement that was like, she was never part of the production of this. She had nothing to do with it. We don't even know why we're being subpoenaed, basically.
I can't believe Justin Baldoni peed in Blake Lively's mouth. I feel like that's a shocking development.
And did she even get paid enough for it? I don't know.
I mean, it's just like, who knew?
Well, on that note...
Good to see you, Mira. I'm glad you're back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back. And good to talk to all of our lovely fans who we love dearly and I hold so close to my heart.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.